Good evening and welcome to Realty Coffee Talk on Awaz Entertainment in Canada, around the world. My name is Tahir Qureshi. I am a fellow of Real Estate Bureau of Canada and broker of record for City Pro Realty Inc. brokerage and your host. Tonight, I am very delighted to have the presence of a brilliant, bright and brilliant lawyer, Sean F. Khan, that I know him for several years now and always seek his advice on real estate matters. So tonight, we're going to talk about assignment sale in real estate. Sean, welcome to Realty Coffee Talk.
Thank you very much for the very kind introduction, and it's always a pleasure being on the show in such great company.
So today we picked up a topic of assignment sales because there's a lot of challenges there. So can you tell us a little bit what is really assignment and what's the relevancy in the marketplace today?
Absolutely. I think it's a very great issue, especially this current time in the market.
Yeah.
Assignments usually we're seeing more recently due to the number of builder transactions that are occurring. Assignment is essentially the right of way for an individual to assign their rights to a contract, their obligations, any liabilities that may come with it, essentially saying that I am transferring over this contract, which is to close in on a property, to another party. Now, it's not as straightforward as that may sound. There's a lot of legal implications that has to go through, a lot of work on the real estate side of things too with the realtors. And the entire process is referred to the assignment
So
process.
what would be the procedure of assignment start to finish when people are working our real estate professional? They are doing lots of, and I have received a lot of complaint about buyer not able to close the deal because a time frame involved is a length of time and market changes and they are not able to get appraisal to the value of the APS and they assume everything is right. They don't read the contract. Even in the assignment clause in the contract that require some payment from the builder.
Yep.
So can you tell us a start to finish, what steps that they have to take and
Yep.
what time they need to engage a lawyer?
Absolutely. Phenomenal question. It's a very lengthy process, but like you mentioned earlier as well, most importantly is reviewing that agreement. So an assignment is mainly occurring recently. I mean, you have the right to assign a resale property agreement as well. But for our purposes, and the most prominent impact of assignments that you're seeing in the current market is with builder transactions. So for example, you're a purchaser. You've obtained a property a couple years ago, the right to obtain a property through the builder via signing an APS, an agreement of purchase and sale. Now, as part of this signing, you have your deposit structure that you have to convey, but you also have the right to get them legally reviewed by your lawyer. So you mentioned at what time should the lawyers be involved from the very beginning with pre-built construction projects. So whether you're buying a freehold or a condominium, we review the agreements. I'm going to leave aside what we review and look for, but let's talk about assignment. So right away in that agreement, you'll either A, have the right to assign, or B, you will not have the right to assign. So you can then negotiate with the builder, depending on their flexibility, get the assignment clause in. So that essentially it's a rainy day clause is what it is.
I always recommend realtors to have a lawyer draft a clause to insert in the offer. Therefore, you don't have any regret that you miss out something.
Absolutely.
Because when you have a builder, if some builder will tell you they have to sell all the property before they allow it,
Yep.
then they charge you money. And then you also want to make sure that the new buyer who's buying from the property has the right to review that agreement
Absolutely.
before they finalizing their agreement,
Yep.
right?
Totally.
So there are two agreements actually.
Absolutely. So starting off with the first agreement with the builder. So this is a couple years before your project's even ready. You can even close on it. Make sure the agreement has the assignment clause in it. A lot of the times the builders will allow this clause. They will have a fee on it. For example, a $10,000 fee, $5,000. Others say we're allowing you an assignment fee, but we're not going to dictate what the fee is. And that's a red mark because you don't know what they're going to charge. And obviously we've seen instances, especially in the current climate, where builders know purchasers are failing to come up with mortgage approvals, appraisals are coming in too low. If we're going to approve the assignment, it's going to be at a lot of money. So that's why get it reviewed first, put the clause in, and that's step one. Now we can discuss how exactly you initiate that step. So first you have the right in there, and then we can discuss as to how you
And this is
initiate
the
it.
other thing that people don't recognize is that sometimes people pretend that the ceiling will be 9 feet high,
Yeah.
but in the agreement it's not mentioned.
Yeah.
So it could be 8 feet high. And those are the things they need to discuss with you or the lawyer, that to discuss that
They absolutely can. They can discuss that with the lawyers. They can discuss that with their agents too. We're the ones that can make those changes happen, but the builders have a lot of flexibility. And that would be hopefully another topic for another day with the specific things we should look out for in the builder agreements. Obviously, the residential resale agreements, we all know how to prepare
So
them.
similarly, same thing happen if you have a resale property.
Yep.
If they want to assign an existing contract, we're going to go back to this. It's a very comprehensive
It is,
topic.
absolutely.
So we have to have a right to transfer the ownership. What happened to the person who has given the right to transfer the assignment?
Yep. So that would be, you'd have your assignor, that person has a right of way to the contract. So in your instance, in the event of a resale property, very rare do we see it. We do see it. Some investors like to have this opportunity in there. Sometimes a purchaser who's not too comfortable or market scenarios changes, they're no longer qualifying for a mortgage. They do have it, but mainly you see the assignment concept in the pre-bills, but in the resale you do as well. And the assignors, they're not off the liability, to answer your question. So that's party A, the original party who has the right of way to close with the individual that they're purchasing from. They no longer can't do it, so they'll bring somebody else into the picture. They still remain liable.
And there are, pitfalls in assignment. And one thing that coming to my mind is the flipping.
Yep.
Someone who bought from the builder and they are selling it to somebody else. They have an income. They need to report to CRA and show what the capital gains are and pay taxes.
Yeah.
So do you experience this kind of stuff that where the buyer or the seller who sold the assignment to one of the client and they don't have declared that income?
They don't have knowledge of it. Well, first and foremost, it's probably better suited for an accountant to advise on the tax related matters. But excellent question. We do see that on a regular basis where clients aren't unaware of their obligations. So one thing is the HST component of it,
yes,
right? People aren't aware of it, and sometimes the lawyer is breaking the bad news to them. Well, you better be prepared to remit the HST. Between the difference of the original agreement plus what you've sold on assignment, now there is that whole discussion on the deposits that would originally pay to the builder, and they have a timeline. If a deal was done before a certain period of time, even the deposits are now taxable for HST purposes, whereas beyond 2019 or so.
The question I have for you is that is the assigner who has given assignment to a new buyer, would that be accountable until the transaction complete from to the builder or not?
Absolutely. Depends on how, that's an excellent question, but it all depends on how you've structured your assignment transaction. If you've closed the assignment transaction, which we don't recommend doing as lawyers, either side, before the title closing with the builders occurred, then at that moment, your obligation would have come to fruition. But in the event you're waiting for the title closing to happen, again, goes back to the structure of the deal. We don't recommend that at all, to close before the assignee is closed with the builder. A lot of liability, a lot of problems with
so
that.
when we talk about the pitfall, and then we also see the benefit of assignment. So we're going to talk about that. So can we talk about some pitfalls and then we talk about benefit of assignment?
Yeah, absolutely. They go hand in hand. So the pitfalls of assignment essentially are, it's expensive. There's a lot of uncertainty on both sides. First and foremost, you have to get your lawyers involved. Now, in order to explain this, let's actually say you're an assignor, meaning you have a building property closing with a builder. You can't close for whatever reason. Eliminate that you're an investor, because a lot of people did investments with assignments 2 years ago, right? Yeah. Now it's changed to the extent that I am unable to fulfill my contractual duties with the builder. What's my out of this place? I don't want to be sued, so you list it for assignment. One of the biggest pitfalls is the assignment fee, first and foremost, whether it's capped, whether it's uncapped. That's a problem. That's a red flag. If it's uncapped, we don't know what the amount's going to be.
So you're talking about the development fees that are related to...
Development fees are going to come right after that, but good comment. Absolutely.
Assignment fee, because the builder wants to pay to cover the administrative costs,
Absolutely.
Right?
Then you got to go through the whole process of getting approved on it. But then you have the third one, is as an assignee, being the individual who's taking over an existing contract from the assignor who has the right to close with the builder, you have to review for, as Mr. Qureshi just mentioned, those closing caps and development fees. If that agreement was reviewed by a lawyer, they most likely would have at least requested to cap building charges, development fees, sub-meter installations. These costs can add up. A lot of the realtors I work with, including yourself, there's always that rule of thumb, X percentage of the price is going to be your closing costs. Most recently, we're seeing an increase in that due to obviously inflation reasons and whatever, but the builder reserves the right to charge those fees. So that's a potential pitfall as well. You being a assignee, buying into, you find a good price on this property, especially nowadays you will be, but then you don't know about these hidden fees, or sort of, you could call them hidden fees, plus the HST rebate component, which is another factor you may not
Yeah.
approve.
If you are buying as an investor,
Yeah.
you as CRA will want that money back because
Absolutely.
you have to declare that this is a investment property, not a principal residence.
But the interesting thing on that is, even on assignments now, say you're a principal home buyer. So the assignor is selling their agreement right to close with the builder to a third party, the assignee. Now the assignee is saying, I'm occupying this property as my principal home. So the rebate component, for ease of convenience, we're going to max it out at $24,000.
Yeah.
It's usually $24,000. You have your calculations and you get to it.
Yeah.
So in normal instances, you would say, you know what, we get credited on closing. We're not paying this funds extra. However, on assignments, whether you're an investor or if it's for principal reasons, majority of the times the builders are denying this right, meaning as a closing cost, you now have to worry about this additional $24,000.
Wow.
And then later to claim it, but it becomes a practicality concern. Do we have those funds to close or not?
Yeah, this is what we have. I did a survey on LinkedIn about what time you engage a lawyer: before offering, during the negotiation, or after firming the deal or conditional deal, or for closing purposes.
Yeah.
So I have a weird comments where people believe that they only need the lawyer at the time of closing.
Yeah.
And there was a percentage on that is on LinkedIn. So I said, no, you make the lawyer as a part of your team.
Absolutely.
In the beginning, when you are creating your budget, you have an appraiser, you have a realtor, you have a home inspector, everybody team, and get advice and create your budget and you proceed. So you have expert opinion from all competent jurisdiction. So that is really, I see it that lots of friends who have bought the property or they're selling the property, they have challenges with that and they get in trouble. Because when you are buying a property, you are buying unseen. You are buying a piece of paper that illustrates the floor plan. They don't even tell you how it's going to look like. Okay. So when you have a finished product, you are able to see what you're buying. In this case, is a conceptual, artistic idea, some illustration of video, and that's what you are buying. And when you are assuming that, and you have to go through all the details to make sure you understand the whole thing. And when you're buying it and you have read the clauses, you have a lawyer and helping you. So this is a benefit is that you think the market, because after buying a property was bought about 2 years ago, so unless the market change. Unfortunately, this due pandemic, people have bought the properties.
Yeah.
And during pandemic, value have gone down, appraised value came lower than the APS. And this is where the challenge is. I have lots of calls came in. Some are 200, 300,000 below what they committed, and they cannot get the loan from the bank. And even, can you tell me about it? The bank, when they make commitment for the loan, they can ask anytime to get appraisal and not to give the money, even they committed it.
Yeah.
What do you see?
The lenders, they reserve the right that the appraised value must be at the level that they want it to be at in order to give the loan a value to secure that loan. But that's a very good question because we're seeing that a lot recently. There's two sort of areas with that. Number one has been people who bought properties 2-3 years ago, bought it as, let's say, not investment purposes, principal purposes. They no longer qualify, or they can no longer afford that projected payment on their mortgages because the rates a couple years ago, everybody knows they were great. Now they're not so great. So that's one of the reasons people are looking towards assignments. And the second reason is what you're mentioning in terms of the appraised value. The banks are coming in now appraising these properties at 90% completion, 95% completion, 98%. And guess what? It's not coming in close enough to what you bought it a couple years ago, meaning you're going to have an even further shortfall of funds.
And you need extra funds to pay that. And you always said to make sure the deal. See, I have a client, not a client, but somebody called me. Their value was 300,000 below the agreed amount, and they have given 300,000 deposit. And the property size that I look at the market at that time, I said, there's no way you can get that price, but they going to lose 300,000. I said, you need to reach out to a lawyer immediately and get, because not only you lose 300,000, they're also going to sue you for because they won't be able to sell their property.
Exactly. Especially with the more expensive properties, the builders are going to have a harder time to flip it, how long it takes to flip it. So they reserve the right, as you mentioned, to come after you beyond those damages.
So, and also then I learned from them that there are so many buyers with that builder who has the same scenario. So they're collectively working with a lawyer to help and see this.
Yeah.
Maybe extend the time or whatever. But $300,000 to cover in a short period of time is not possible. So this is
it's not possible, but that's
and
always.
he took the assignment.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
He took the assignment. He did not use any realtor, and he went ahead and bought it. So this is why we have this benefit, is that you buy a property 3 years ago and you pretend that the value of the property will escalate to a point and they will gain something in the future.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, if the price goes down based on market condition, what happened now? So you lose it, but you need to have a contingency plan. And this is why I always recommend to have your budget.
Yeah.
So you know you can handle this before you jump into it. And they did not even use a realtor. And they did not even hire a lawyer at the time.
To review
they spoke to me and there was only 10 days.
Yeah.
And they wanted me to see if I can sell their property to somebody.
Huh.
I said, no. First, you need to look at your contract, and look at your assignment clause, and all those stuff. So I refer to a lawyer. I don't know whether they reach it or not, but I'm sure they have a problem. So only right now we are seeing this benefit really evaporating for now until we reach a point where we can see what's happening.
But it's also very important or popular now with the whole concept of assignments, is because we're in a weird era of how the economy is headed with interest rates. The market is obviously not as booming or hot as it was. Some claim otherwise. Yeah. However, a couple of years ago, when assignments were, that's why CRA started looking into it, because they were soaring. It was very popular. Investment reasons. People would book multiple properties to then flip them and make profit on it. Investment reasons. It wasn't as much in the lights at that time because the economy was prospering. People were making profits on it. Now the same individuals are different individuals. It's the other end of the spectrum where now you're potentially being exposed to losses. The thing with that is sometimes you make good investments, other times you do not. And that's just something you need to be more mindful of when you do get the agreement signed up. Like Mr. Qureshi mentioned too, have your contingency plan. It'll start with the assignment option. You could go a step further and have the builder, if they agree, allow you to redirect title to a family member. Usually that's done at no cost in case you can't get approved on the mortgage. Have your family member.
Viewers, we're going to continue our conversation and we're going to take a short break and then we'll come back and continue our conversation on assignment sales and real estate with Sean F. Khan.
Q Wireless and Computer अपने तमाम devices, phones, iPads, tablets, MacBooks और laptops के repairs और मरम्मत के लिए हमसे आज ही राब्ता कीजिए। हम quality expertise के साथ साथ आपको free of cost diagnosis भी देंगे और data security की guarantee भी। अपने मुफ्त कोड के लिए हमें आज ही कॉल करें 647-350-6606।
Popeyes has opened a brand new location in downtown Vancouver. Satisfy your craving for Cajun at this new location off West Georgia and Hamilton Street, where you'll find all your favorite Louisiana-inspired menu items. We sampled the unrivaled trio of sandwiches, the classic, the deluxe, and the blackened deluxe chicken sandwich, and all were delicious. All of the signature fried chicken is marinated for 12 hours, then hand-battered and breaded, served with Cajun fries and mac and cheese on the side. Plus, for a limited time, you can try Popeyes Crispy Chicken Wrap, available now until September 3rd. Check out the new Popeyes location at 700 Hamilton Street today. Who are you bringing with you? Tag them in the comments.
This is the latest opening in BC for Popeyes, with more openings coming soon in both Alberta and BC by PLK Group.
Love that chicken from Popeyes.
Thinking of buying or selling real estate? Call us today. We are one-stop solution provider for your real estate needs. Our commission plans to meet your budget. Buy, sell, or build. We can help. Think of us today. Call us at 905-785-9923. Your satisfaction is guaranteed. Thank you.
Welcome to SFK Law, where we're committed to providing legal guidance tailored to your needs. When it comes to real estate law, every detail matters. At SFK Law, We will assist you whether you're buying, selling, or refinancing your property. We'll guide you throughout the process with complete transparency.
Whether you're an employer or an employee, our team will provide expert guidance and representation to safeguard your rights and interests. Whether you're an existing business owner or you're looking to buy or sell a business, at SFK Law, we can help you structure the transaction from start to finish.
If you're searching for a lawyer, contact us today to schedule your consultation.
अगर आपको दुबई या मिडिल ईस्ट नुमा जेवरात की तलाश है तो आपको दूर जाने की बिल्कुल जरूरत नहीं। आज ही हमारे मिसिसागा रिजवे स्टोर तशरीफ लाइए। अल करम ज्वेलर्स। हमारे पास सोने के बेहतरीन कंगन, कड़े, झुमके, हार और सोने के सेट्स भी दस्तयाब हैं। शादी हो या मेहंदी या कोई भी फंक्शन, आपकी पसंद के तमाम जेवरात आपको हमारे स्टोर में मौजूद मिलेंगे। आज ही हमारे स्टोर पर तशरीफ लाइए। अल करम ज्वेलर्स, 3465 प्लैटिनम ड्राइव, यूनिट 99, मिसिसागा। या फिर कॉल करें 905-828-0009। अल करम ज्वेलर्स, फरमाइश आपकी, गारंटी हमारी।
आओ चले ईद बाजार, चलो चले ईद बाजार। चूड़ियां, झुमके, जूते, पान लगाए, मेहंदी ले सामान। लेडीज जेंट्स कपड़े, सूट, शेरवानी और सैंडल बूट। सुर्खी पाउडर और सिंगार, फ्री एंट्री इस बाजार। चीज मयारी, सस्ते दाम, वहाँ की हर शे आए काम। आओ चले, चलो चले।
Eid Bazaar, presented by Awaz Entertainment and PGA International at National Banquet Hall from April 5th to Chandrat, April 8th.
HK Movers, home, offices, apartments and delivery, big or small, we move it all.
HK Movers.
Local and long distance, we also ship cars, Keller transport and moving services.
For service with a smile, give us a call.
Call Mr. Harminder 416-524-6704.
416-524-6704 पे.
Visit 140 Advance Boulevard, Unit number 10, Brampton.
Long distance moving specialist.
HK Movers. HK Movers.
डिक्सी इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स और अप्लायंसेस पिछले 16 सालों से खरीदारों की खिदमत कर रहे हैं। हम लगातार 4 सालों से खरीदारों की पहली पसंद बने रहने का अवार्ड हासिल कर चुके हैं। हम किचनर्स, बॉश, वर्लपूल, एलजी, सैमसंग और जनरल इलेक्ट्रिक के ऑथराइज्ड डीलर हैं। 5 स्टार खिदमत का लुत्फ लें। हम आप सभी को टीवी सबसे ज्यादा रियायती दामों पर देने की गारंटी देते हैं। www.dixieelectronics.ca हमारी वेबसाइट पर जाएं या अभी कॉल करें 905-625-5900। सभी बहुत ही मुनासिब कीमत पर दस्तयाब हैं जो आप बाआसानी से ले सकते हैं। At Dixie, we sell quality and deliver confidence.
Good evening and welcome to Realty Coffee Talk on Awaz Entertainment in Canada around the world. My guest is Sean F. Khan, a lawyer, a brilliant and bright lawyer from Mississauga. We're talking about assignment, sales in real estate. Sean, thank you for coming. Now we're going to talk about the cost that associate with assignment.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, because monetary, how much money would cost, who pays for this, and so can you tell us?
Absolutely.
Assignment sale from lesser or assignee or assigner point of view.
Yeah. Well, we'll start with the assignor point of view. Obviously, one of the first steps is, in order to obtain the assignment, you do have to reach out to the builder to make sure the builder allows you the consent to assign. As part of that, the builder has their own assignment fee, as we mentioned a couple of times today.
Yeah.
In addition to that, they have their own legal fees, which are going to be in addition to the assignment fees. So that's a couple expenses right away. Now, quick time out there, you can always negotiate those fees with the assignee, the party that is purchasing. Usually, as we've seen it, the assignor incurs those charges. Once you've got your consent, whole different process. A lot of work has to go into obtaining that consent, essentially in layman's term, permission from the builder to go ahead and engage services, list it, go find a purchaser. You then have to consider, obviously, your real estate agent. You hire your real estate agent, work on the commission structure, as well as the assignee's co-op broker. Once that's all done, we're going to now flip sides to the assignee. What are the costs the assignee will be looking at? Well, same costs in the event you've negotiated shares of legal fees and so on for the builder, fine. If not, your own lawyer fees, number one. Number two, you want to then review that agreement. And these costs could add up. For example, on the pre-builds, you'll look at Terry on warranty enrollment fee, about $1,500 or so. Depending on the type of project, you might have sub-metered utilities in the unit, and each builder reserves the right not only to charge you for the installation, but also connecting the service. These fees do add up. You have the big ones known as the development charges. So these are levies, whether it's parkland imposed, educational levies, municipality levies. This is all sort of labeled as one, known as building and development charges, and people have probably heard of this term. That's where the significant charges will come into play. Now, in addition to that, would be your HST rebate component. That is not an expense. It's more of a, I need a budget for this, and then I can claim it back by doing an application with the CRA.
So lots of consumers don't even know when they say GST, HST is included by the builder, they mean any rebate that you are entitled under Income Tax Act from CRA, that is included. So basically, when you buy $1 million property, for example, and then you can assume that $24,000 maximum is on top of that if it is an investment property.
Absolutely.
Because principal residence is exempt because that $24,000, and give me an example, they will claim from CRA at the time of closing through your lawyer, and you'll be signing affidavit that this is your principal residence. Therefore, you are entitled to this rebate, correct?
Absolutely.
And if they give a false rebate, CRA will come back and ask the rebate back, plus penalty, plus interest rates, how long you have the property. So be careful, consult with your lawyer like Sean, and so he can explain you. Builder normally, sometimes they don't explain, but they say GST, HST is included.
Yep.
And this is very important.
Absolutely. And going back to the rebate component of it, which, as we mentioned, for the purpose of discussion, we'll leave it at a capped out $24,000. As an investor, you have to come up with those funds, pay it on closing, then do a rental rebate application to get it back. However, now on assignments, the builders have been saying that CRA is denying them the rebate even on principal if it's bought via assignment. So they're automatically assuming that even though you're exempt, it's a principal property, as an assignee, you better prepare for that $24,000 or so.
Basically, are they saying, the CRA is saying that you already taken possession of it?
That's one way of looking at it. It's more so for the amount of assignment deals that were reported and the issues that happened with those throughout the years. CRA has now put their foot down saying anything on assignment, we don't care if you're moving in, it's a principal property. Majority of the times now the builders are collecting even from a principal homeowner their rebate, but very easy for them to get the money back after. They do their own rebate saying we're living here, principal property.
My understanding is I think they are asking builders, obligating them to report any assignments. Is that true?
Absolutely. That's exactly what it is.
That's what
to
is
report
happening.
it. Yep. Because too many went unreported. A lot of money was lost. A lot of taxes weren't paid because there was a big boom with assignments.
So viewer, is very, very important that you talk to a chartered accountant when you are buying or selling, either way. If there is a capital gain, you need to talk to, and obviously when you talk to a lawyer, and they will ask you to check with your accountant about tax calculation. Like Sean has said fairly that in the beginning, the chartered accountant has to explain you what are the tax implications.
Absolutely.
Because you cannot assume there is a total profitability. I remember recently one post on one of very prominent our broker of record has shown some tax implications on there. And so there was almost 56% taxes on capital gain because you are doing and flipping and you're making money, something you never took possession of it, right?
Absolutely.
So this is very important for the viewers to understand that and consult with a lawyer. So basically, I think this is a very good. Any general comments you want to talk about, when to engage you, and also very clearly there are two transactions. And if there is a resale being sold by the realtor or brokerage, listing brokerage, one transaction is the assignment agreement.
Yep.
That means you are buying from existing assignor to take over the assignment from the builder. Okay. So that transaction is closed. I always recommend that assignment should also close on the day of the builder closing.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because
That's how
if
we
you
recommend
close
it.
it and you left anything in
Yep.
there by mistake,
Yep.
you'll be liable there, right?
Absolutely. I think that's phenomenal because both sides' best interests are to go ahead and close at the time of the title closing. So what we are referring to when we mentioned there's two transactions. There's the original purchase with the builder, the right of way that the assignor has. In this case, it would be the purchaser, but then the purchaser later on sells their contract to the assignee. They become the assignor. Assignee is now going to be the purchaser with the builder.
Yeah.
So that's one transaction between the assignor assignees. They do the real estate OREA form, get that all in order, and then go ahead and report this to the builder saying, can we get your consent? And that's one of the comments I'd like to add. I've seen recently the builders are saying, no, we're not going to give you the consent. And that makes the agreement so important originally to review and negotiate. And if you see a builder at that time saying, sorry, we're not allowing assignment, you should think twice about entering into that because you don't know what the future holds. And that's exactly what's happening today. Why the builders are just declining consent, I couldn't tell you. You can only speculate why it is. Obviously, they put the wording in their agreements to protect themselves, that they have the right to, without a reason, deny this consent.
Absolutely. And lots of, I have noticed that, I receive calls from consumer all the time because of Realty Coffee Talk show we have. And they said, that I didn't know this. I never read that. And I didn't get it through my lawyer or my realtor. Hey, when you sign your signature on top of some documents, you are responsible. You cannot blame anyone. It's in your interest to ask questions to the lawyers, all questions to your realtor, all questions to your lender, because there are mortgage terms and conditions and affects that. And also you have to look at why it's important to engage with real estate professional, because markets fluctuate. And you know that we're going through this process. Unpredictability, unstable situation, interest rates high, affordability issue. So this is very important for you to understand that you must use professional, competent in their jurisdiction to make sure they give you guidance. And this is why I said in the beginning, when you think about buying, create a team, a professional, your team, and create your budget, get advice from all professional before you enter into any agreement with anyone. Assignment is even more critical, and you have to have the wording rightly explained to the lawyer so they can guide you, because I always use you, Sean.
Absolutely.
You know that.
Absolutely. And going back on that, when you do get your agreement, whether it's for future properties that you're looking at obtaining, now is probably the best time to start getting them reviewed, especially with how the market has changed so significantly and people suffering from not having these agreements reviewed. We do offer that service to review your agreement and purchase and sales, whether it's pre-builds. Usually on resale, we work with the agents directly, so it's not too much to worry about. But on the pre-builds with the builder, obviously, if you end up closing with our firm, then those fees that you paid for the review, they get adjusted into your closing costs. So a lot of times clients are saying, I don't really want to pay the extra couple $100s to have the agreement reviewed. But I cannot emphasize how far that can go for you in terms of A, liability exposure, B, limiting certain caps on costs, but most importantly, as a purchaser, you're now aware of what the worst case scenario will look like, meaning that you could plan for it accordingly.
Excellent. I think this is very important that you mentioned about the financial impact. Yes, it's worth it to pay some money. I have used Sean for many of my clients whenever, and then he reimbursed them because they become his client, and he said, okay, I'm not going to charge you for the preview. I will adjust you. So thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
You've been a very guiding professional for me for all transactions that we have been doing, and we appreciate that. So I'm going to give you a little bit update before we end our program and get a final message from this. We have a February report. It shows 17.9% increase in sale in February, last February to this February 24. And we have a new listing, increased 33.5%. You know why the listings are increasing? Because lots of people are having difficulty in getting mortgage and renewals. And that's the challenge that we are facing. Now, active listing, we have 15.1% is increased from last year. This is Toronto Regional Real Estate Board Market Watch report I'm sharing with you. Good thing is average price is showing a 1.1% increase. Remember that we have a 0.1% in January. Now we are 1.1% last February to this February. So again, I will remind you that you need to hire a professional. Give me a call at 905-785-9923. I can help you, because these are average price based on number of transactions in a month. But you need to have very specific, your property, your street, your location, your community, your city. That price will be different. So you need to seek help of a real estate professional. Listing day on the market, 13.6% increase as compared to February 23, and 12.1% increase from February for a property day on the market from February 23 to 24. So I want to say a final word before we end our program. I'm going to say, introduce yourself and give them the contact information. Anything you want to say before we close the program?
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that opportunity. So I'm one of the lawyers at SFK Law. We're a Mississauga local-based law firm, and we mainly focus our practice on corporate law, real estate law with mortgages. You can call us at any time to schedule in a consultation. We provide very transparent legal services. There's no hidden charges. We'll let you know what the fees are. But most importantly, you'll have access to your lawyers at all times, and creative lawyers that can provide good solutions, as well as look out for your best interests. Final comment I will say real quickly on assignments before we wrap up. I overall like assignments. I like working on assignments. I like seeing assignments because it's a very good solution for all three parties involved. The builders are getting their payments. They're closing the property, selling it. The assignor, the original purchaser, has a way out or has made profit on the transactions. The assignee is now acquiring a brand new home. So they're fun to deal with. You do have to engage a professional real estate agent, obviously somebody who knows and enjoys working on assignments, as well as your lawyer. And that's another thing at SFK Law we would do. So again, forgot to even mention the firm name, but SFK Law is the firm name, and we're here to help out with any of your transactional needs, whether you're a corporation or whether you're an individual.
Do you want to give your phone number, please? And
Absolutely. Website is sfklaw.ca, and phone number is 905-232-3735. It's essentially 2323 SFK. You could do a quick Google SFK Law and you'll find us, and reach out. Let us know you've reached out through the show as well, and we'll take care of you.
Thank you very much, Sean, for coming to our Realty Coffee Talk show. Realty Coffee Talk is about increasing awareness, building consumer confidence in real estate and mortgages, also promoting ethics and professional practices in real estate and mortgage financing. My name is Tahir Qureshi. I'm a fellow of Realty Coffee of Canada, broker, record facility, Realty Inc. brokerage. If you have any question regarding this, you can also visit realtycoffeetalk.com or my YouTube channel at Realty Coffee Talk, and you can see hundreds of episodes that were aired on Awaz Entertainment. We'll look forward to see you next Thursday. We welcome your comments. Please provide your feedback so we continue to improve our program. Thank you for watching. May God bless you all. May God bless Canada. Thank you very much, and bye for now. Thank you, Sean, for coming.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Pleasure.